Have you guys ever questioned the existence of Wi-Fi? And were you ever curious, like how can we send data while sitting in this room to someone across the world within milliseconds? Well, there was a point in our human history where ancestors actually had to use pigeons to even send a message across town. Well, let's try to understand the magic behind Wi-Fi and how can we send data so quickly. To send data wirelessly, all our devices communicate using radio waves. And that's where the magic happens. These waves are not much different than the FM that we listen to while driving our car, but they do operate on a different bandwidth. So every device that we have pretty much is like a mini radio that we are carrying around. And if you remember, when the cell phones first came out, they actually had a built-in antenna that was located outside the device. And as the technology has advanced, the size of this antenna has become so smaller that it can actually be embedded within the body, that it doesn't have to be outside. So this is the antenna our devices use to transmit and receive radio waves and communicate wirelessly. So how do our devices communicate using radio waves? Well, everything that we have on our devices is made up of numbers, the binary numbers, ones and zeros, and these ones and zeros make up literally everything, including the memes somebody sending you, the good morning text, the video of Taylor Swift attending Super Bowl. And well, after all, our computer CPU only understands ones and zeros, and that's the on and off state. And to send an image wirelessly over radio, we must convert the data into a package so that it can be transmitted via radio waves. So, have you guys ever thrown a rock into a water and it generates this waves and a ripple, and the waves travel further? And that's exactly what our devices do. So all our wireless devices actually constantly are sending these waves back and forth to communicate. And how can we send a message over this wave? So what it does is our devices actually have the technology to manipulate and modulate these waves. So now when the wave is generated over the water, what if you throw a tiny little rock in that? It will generate its own wave within that wave, and it will travel the same distance. So that's what our devices do. They actually change the amplitude and frequency of the radio waves to send this data or a package to our Wi-Fi routers. And then our Wi-Fi routers are just connected to internet via a fixed Ethernet cable, and then the data is just sent to the receiver within milliseconds. So how does it get delivered within milliseconds? Well, that's where the fiber optics comes into play. Fiber optics is the unsung hero and backbone of our modern day Wi-Fi. So imagine if you can send beams of light not just across a room but across cities, countries and oceans, carrying information at a mind-boggling speed. Well, fiber optics makes this possible, and these fiber optic cables are made up of glass or plastic, and they are actually as thin as our one hair strand. And so in order to send data over fiber optics, it has to be encoded into light, and this is done by our Wi-Fi routers, which have built-in modem. And the modems actually turn a laser or LED on and off rapidly, and they create these light pulses where presence or absence of light represent binary data, those ones and zeros that we just discussed. So the light actually bounces along the inner wall of the cable, and we call this process total internal reflection. So this zigzagging keeps the light inside the cable even as it curves and bends over hills, under oceans. So once it reaches the destination, we just reverse the whole process. The light is converted back into electrical signal, and which is then eventually sent over the radio waves, and our devices then decode this information and put the package together to form the image. And how does it happen so fast, within milliseconds? Well, light is the fastest thing in the universe, and when it actually travels down the fiber optics, it travels at a rate of 200,000 kilometers per second. Well, there you have it, guys. That's the secret behind Wi-Fi. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel, and stay tuned for more.